Good morning, Biggies. Welcome to another insightful session of our big morning show, Onwards and Upwards. Today, we have with us a very interesting personality with so much of varied experience and difference. So, we have with us Captain Amit Bhandari. He is an ex-sailing captain and an MBA from Merchant Navy with over 29 years of experience in marine oil and gas field. He is currently working as a CEO of a reputed marine company, and is in apart from that he's very passionate in the mind working and has been actively involved in it for over the last 15 years in this field. He's the founder of Navigate the Ship in your life. He's a certified subconscious mind expert, life coach from International Coaching Fraternity, counselor, Robert Chokhoff model, REBT specialist, dream therapist, collector, relationship facilitator. And welcome Captain Amit Bhandari to our big morning show, Onwards and Upwards.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for inviting me over to your house. Actually, I'm in everybody's house at the moment. So it can't get better than this. I've come straight into your homes. So thank you so much, Big FM, to be a part of this and addressing the leadership team and all the people that matter in your industry. Before I start, I want to just give a big round of applause, and I want all of you to please clap, not for me, but for yourselves. And don't put the virtual clap, please, because when we do the actual clap, that's when the vibrations they hit us, and that's when we know that we're really throbbing and we're really alive. So please give a big round of applause wherever you are. Please spend that time. And thank you so much. Thank you. And I will also take 10 seconds to give gratitude before I start. And I'll request you to join me in this. So I thank the universe for my eyes that I can see. I thank the universe for my ears that I can listen to the radio and all the music. I thank the universe for the tongue that I can taste good food, for my hands, for my feet, for the house that I'm in, and I want to thank for all the jobs that we are all employed with. So thank you so much. I would like to tell you that my industry and the universe has given me so much in my life that I felt it's my time to give back to the society and do good for the society. That is why I ventured into this field of being a life coach, a facilitator, and I feel I'm a thought inspirer. And with this, I will request you all to keep a paper and pen with you handy if you can, because you never know, maybe a small idea can change your life today. And इसी के साथ मुझे जरा आज ओपन माइंड से सुनना and आज धुन बदल के देखो.
Thank you so much, Captain Amit Bhandari. So, following the flow as discussed, would like to take your permission to start the discussion. Theme of today's session is the change in organizational approach to the new normal scenario to stay relevant, because staying relevant is very critical for us to move ahead. So, my first question is, considering the fact that we all are working mostly from the remote locations and mostly work from home, it's a completely new type of working environment for all of us. How you see this whole interdepartmental understanding, how it can be improvised and a strong relationship can be built between interdepartment, and which can lead to a better growth and capability development for the organization?
Thank you. So, working from remote locations, I would say, is one of the smaller of the problems that we have, because the factors which are important to work together have got nothing to do with the physical distancing. When the hearts are distant, even screams are not heard. And when the hearts are close, even silence has a language. Our departments, what are they? Our departments are also made up of the same people that we're talking about. People having emotions, people having families, their personal goals, feelings. So all these people together, they are making up our department. And I feel personally that for departments to work together, we need to start with the core of the problem or the core of the issue, that is each individual that we need to address. With that, I'm going to share a very different concept with you. We all let's assume four areas of our life, and let's say work. Everybody can see this clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work, self, intimate relationships, and relationships. Generally, all of us, our lives are distributed only within these four areas. And I want you to think, give it 10 seconds and think, what is your priority in this list? What comes first? What comes second, third, fourth for you in your life? And it doesn't change with different scenarios. It remains constant for whatever you think all the time. So please, on that paper pen, please write down, what do you think are your priorities here? Now, because we have a very restricted time, so I'm going to get straight to it. These priorities, I have put them down like an inverted triangle, where work seems to be the biggest, relationships next, and intimate relationships next, and the smallest is self. But this is an inverted triangle. So our first priority always has to be self. Second comes our intimate relationships. And third is relationships. And fourth is work. Let me just quickly explain this. Intimate, okay, let me tell you this with a small concept. When I am happy, then I can keep my intimate relationship happy. If my intimate relationship is happy, my relationship, which means the office staff, colleagues, my watchman, because every other human being is a relationship, then I can keep them happy. And when I am happy, work will happen. So with this, let's take this. We've all heard of the 80-20 rule. And in case somebody is not, let me just recap. 80% of our life's issues come from 20% of the problems only. 80% of your clothes in your wardrobe you never wear, you only wear 20% of them. 80% of the world's property is only owned by 20% of the people. So based on that, I came up with this concept where in our life, we actually generally relate only with 100 people. We may have 2,000 people on our LinkedIn, we may have 5,000 people, millions on our followerships, but we relate only with 100. Out of that, those are those 100, and then we have 20 people only in our life who are relatively much closer. Which means these are those 20 people you may even think about inviting to your house for a party or whatever. And there is only 4 people in your life who will generally be intimate to you. Maybe your mother, father, child, or friends, but it will only be 4. If you check, it will only be 4. If it's more than 4, or really it can't be a big number, because the word intimate means it has to be less. Why am I sharing this is because it is very important for our remote operations that this hierarchy is followed. When each individual in our industry and in our office and in our departments realizes that this is the priority they need to take, because when I take care of myself, then I take care of you. If I cannot breathe, I cannot even take care of you. When I take care of you and I am happy, that's when work will happen, and you will have a very, very good working atmosphere, and it will have nothing to do with your remote operations.
I think quite
Thank you.
thoughtful and quite very in a very simple way you've explained the entire concept.
Thank
I
you,
think
Adayat.
very truly very. So how can we bring stability during instability? So these are two important words or terminologies which we need to look at: stability during instability.
So I want to ask all of you, do you love surprises?
Yes, we
I'm
love
sure,
surprises.
I'm sure everybody loves surprises. But you know the definition of surprise? The definition is, as per the dictionary, an unexpected or astonishing event or fact. And then please take the time and immediately identify what is your hunger. So number one here is getting this job done. When are we, what time is this going to happen? They want certainty. Even in a relationship, they want certainty. They want to know, are, is this going to work between us? I want to know a clear answer. Are we together or not? So these people cannot do without certainty. You know, in psychotherapy, we have three ego states: parent, adult, and child. And put it on your cupboards. Wake up with this, because this is the key. The three core principles are: number one, before I close this topic, let me ask you a simple question. Before COVID, were there not many people who were unstable? Yes, they were. After COVID, aren't there many people who are still stable? Yes, they are. That is because of their coping strategies. Understand your hunger and put this up on your cupboard, because life is not here to hammer you. Life is here to be nice to you. Now you have to decide how you are going to make your changes and throw away this broken toy which has happened with COVID. Thank you.
Another important aspect is trust in any organization. So trust is very important, and then delegation. So how you can build trust and delegation to drive higher growth. So
First, we need to understand, why do we want to have trust? What is that reason? Please think in your own minds, write down in the paper, pen that you have. Why do we want to trust? We want to trust because we. Now, if you are in a relationship, now let us say, even coming into the organization, you are in a relationship. But unfortunately, what happens? We spend 96% of our time trying to. Happy people may not perform. Happy people may not perform, but unhappy people will never perform. Unhappy people in your organization will only do a drama of performance, but they may not perform. They will not perform. The RJs who become bigger and bigger with their shows, they are not the ones who are playing excellent songs. They are the ones who are able to connect with the people that they're talking to.
uh, many a times you don't communicate, or you communicate less, because of which sometimes you don't build trust. So since in the current scenario, in-person connectivity is very limited. It's mostly Zoom calls and telephone call. So what do you think is the best way to talk to someone? How you can speak to someone or talk to someone?
See, we have these remote situations, definitely, but as I already spoke about it, silence has its own language. But I'm not here to give you a spiritual gyan or anything of that sort. We're going to talk very, very rational. We're going to talk very balanced. So in today's present scenarios, what
The best part with the way you have presented this whole thing is very simple, in simple way to look at things. Matlab. Are exploring newer ways to market our products. So as I have said, we have big world where we are exploring newer avenues. So what are your views on marketing dynamics?
let's understand what the market dynamics has been starting from year zero. Now, what is zero? I don't know. But from zero to 1750, it was agriculture and land which was most important. 1750 to 1950, it was all machineries. This is where the money was, this is where the driving force was. 1950 to 1978, it came to distribution, outlets, retail. That industry started picking up, and that's where everybody was rushing as a market dynamic. 1979 to 1994, it became technology.
Sure.
1994 to 2003, it became IT. And from 2003 to 2010, it is IT, technology, and entertainment. But from 2010 till today, the game has changed. The game now is all about.
Moving to my last question is decision making, which is, I believe, is very critical for our day-to-day operations. You have been in operations, you have been in managing operations for your organization. What are the key aspects of decision making? You have already discussed few things which are important, like trust, and also apart from that, what do you feel are the critical aspects for decision making?
So I want to ask all of you, what exactly is a decision? What exactly is a decision? When you make a decision, what's happening? Decision, when I am shooting for my courses, my online courses, which I do, so many of them, anger management, etc. The shooting is the smaller problem. The draining part is when I have to set up the camera, get the mic in place every time, put the laptop there. That is what drains me more than the shoot itself. So I'm going to share with you 5 decision hacks. Please take note. These will change the way you make decisions, and it'll be highly, highly recommended and highly useful. I can share something that in hypnosis, this is what hypnotherapy is all about, because your conscious mind starts taking so many decisions that we overload it and we put you into a hypnotic state. I'm also a professional hypnotherapist. Time is our only resource. Use your present moment for the right decisions, because otherwise you'll just get drained. Thank you. And if Hidayat allows, I would like to just recap. Hidayat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so very, very quickly, exactly 2 minutes. I would like to recap what we did today. Our topmost priorities we need to understand in our life. Self is most important, followed by intimate relationships, followed by relationships, and then comes work. I am okay and my wife is doing fine. I will be nice to you in office, and when all of this is fine, I will do a happy work. It will happen. Trust me, follow this. Trust we spoke about. So trust me, 96% I will prove right. The 5 human hungers we talked about, and identify what is your hunger, because that is driving you and it shows up in stress times. And the 3 core philosophies we talked about: trust 96% of the time, which we talked about; voice notes as the ideal communication that we must use today; and the market dynamics again comes to trust. If they trust you, they will buy from you. And the last one is the decision making, the 5 decision hacks which I shared with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it's a very insightful session and a very simple way of explaining the entire process of doing certain things which can definitely help in capability development of individuals as well as the organization. Now I would like to invite our leadership team and would like to invite our CEO, Mr. Abraham Thomas, to share his views or if you have any questions.
Thank you, Rayat, and good morning, Captain. Thank you so much for this wonderful morning.
Hello, good morning.
Some amazing hacks that you've kind of shared, and a lot of us identify with a lot of this. So, and it's so opportune because last 15 months has done so much of, I would say, good and so much of lessons for all of us. So, I had a question, and very simplistically, it appears like Mr. Bachchan says, there are two types of people. Right? There are those who are considered self-starters, which means they depend on energy from within to keep going. So whatever the setback, you wake up next morning and says, "Man, no, it's a beautiful world. Let's go for it." And there are those who depend on others for the energy. And there's no right or wrong in this because I know creative talent who depend on the audience reaction to keep going, right? And trainers and stand-up comedians. And there are people who are equally comfortable on a Zoom call or where performing in a stadium where the lights are blinding you so you can't even see who's in front of you. And so obviously it's not as simple as it appears because obviously the both sorts of personalities go through a lot of challenges and it's how they keep themselves going and all that. So what do you think? How does this work? Why are some people seen as being self-starters and keep going no matter what? And why are some people seen as, hey, he's down and he needs external stimuli to keep going?
Thank you for inviting me today and pleasure talking to you here. See, we already spoke about the three philosophies, and those philosophies are the core. If we don't go by those philosophies, we will never be able to understand what humans are. People are okay. Now, obviously, if people are okay, and I have faith in the universe that everything is also perfect, then why is X person not having a driving force and Y person is having it? Now, it's not the mistake of the person, I'm sorry to say, but it's the mistake of the organization. This person is not sitting where his strengths are. I do not believe, and even in psychotherapy, we have understood with human behavior, we have all been born with certain strengths. Some are inbuilt, some we have picked up during our growing years up to the age of 7. Up to the age of 7, whatever your parents have taught you, the world has taught you, will become your strength. You may learn 25 languages, you can do that. And that becomes your strength. You go into being a translator. But if you are sitting in a position out of guilt, out of family pressure, out of financial pressure, and you're trying to get a job done, but it's not your strength, you will find this person very difficult to make them perform. Now, what happens is, even a message for HR is that we try to train to get their weaknesses to become a strength. But it's like trying to teach an elephant how to climb a tree. He's not meant for that. You have to, in fact, concentrate on those 5-6 strengths that the person has, because they will excel in that. And if they are not creative, like you said, the original problem, then I would say talk and otherwise move the departments. Identify the strengths. That's where the key is.
I have, in fact, seen a lot of people refusing to train or perform on Zoom, saying, I can't feel the audience energy, so I don't know if they are walking out or are they like involved. And there are others who say it doesn't matter to me. I'm kind of, my energy comes from within. And in fact, one of our earlier speakers had a very interesting definition of an introvert and an extrovert. And his definition was an introvert has energy within him. So he's very comfortable and he dips into that to keep himself going. Whereas an extrovert actually needs energy from outside, which is why he's constantly seeking that. So
You will find the extroverts actually yo-yoing, like a yo-yo. External trigger is nice, they are high energy. Trigger is not so nice, they'll just drop in energy also. If you allow me, I can share a very small concept
Sure.
just in a minute. That in hypnosis, what happens is this affects our training very, very heavily. This is the mind. If I have to show the mind on paper, this is how I would do it. And we are 90%, we are made up of subconscious, and only 10% is your conscious mind. Now, this conscious mind forms because by the age of 8 to 12, you have gone through certain filters in life, experiences, etc., which have put coded language and memory into your subconscious. So this filter is formed. When this filter is formed, your conscious mind is formed. That's why you see behaviors after the age of 8 to 12. So conscious mind is the one which you're trying to train as HR and as an organization. But this conscious mind has to allow a thought to go through the filter, and then it will hit my subconscious. But this filter is already made. So my conscious mind, whatever information it is receiving, it will not go through my filter, because my filter has been made in a certain way based on my SEER, social, economic, educational, religion. But if I have experienced something which has been good for me, I will accept this memory. But if my past memory has not been good, I may still accept it, because anything for the mind which is unknown is fear. Anything which is known is pleasure. Now, known means whether you're beating me up every day, but at least I know at this time you come and beat me up. But anything unknown, it's fear. I don't want to do it. So this is where our trainings fail, because the training has to come from here, not from here. Thank you. I just thought I'll share that.
Wow, what an amazing thought. Thank you so much, Captain. Really, really enjoyed, and I'm sure each one of us are taking out a lot of hacks from your chat this morning with us. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you so much for inviting me over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to invite our country head for content and marketing, Mr. Sunil Kumaran, to share his views or any question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Hidayat. Thank you, Captain. Really loved the session.
Thank you, sir.
Very, very interesting perspectives. It actually gave us a lot to think about. All the points that you touched, especially the point on trust, I think, and I was trying to reflect when you're talking about trust and how closely it is related to delegation. When I reflect back, I understand that if I trust a person, I find it so much more easier to delegate.
Yeah.
One of the challenges with that, at least I have encountered, and I think it's a fantastic concept that you start with trust, right? I think why not start with trust and see where it leads you? Do you think trust is also a two-way street? So what happens if you kind of trust on a person and kind of delegate or assign something to that individual, and that person doesn't really live up to what your expectation was? So how do you deal with that kind of situation? Then there is a natural response that you kind of losing trust and you don't know whether you want to kind of do the delegation as wholeheartedly as you did the first time around. So what do you have to say to that? Is it like a two-way street? Does it build over time based on the behaviors?
Sunil, I would say that number one principle, which we already know, is your way of doing it may not be the only way to do it. So definitely somebody will do it the way they may want to do it. So first of all, they are doing it, but it may not be as per what we believe is the right way. That is I would say, a cliche thing. We've heard that many times. but it's very important. Actually, life is very simple. It's we who complicate it. So if you want to simplify your life, no, just trust. And why is it's not a two-way street? Is because you want peace of mind, you trust and take peace of mind. If the other person has got their own stories running in their head, there will be lack of peace of mind for them, and that's their life story and drama. If you get into that, trust me, you'll drain your entire life's energies. You will not understand what is going on in their head. So I would say trust is not because you're a saint, not because you are a baba. Trust because you're selfish and you want peace of mind. So it is not a two-way street. It is a one-way street.
No, get your point. I think it's a very, very pertinent point. I think having trust helps you more than anything else.
Yes.
Makes your life simpler. So
yeah, we are trusting for ourselves, not for them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really loved the session, and thank you so much for taking this time out, spending this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Morning with us. Thank you. Back to you, Hida.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I think it's about to be 11. So there are a few chat questions on the chat box. So I will take up those questions and I'll send it to you. You can probably send me the answers in voice note, and I can send it to the respective person. Thank you so much once again for this wonderful session. We have a small token of appreciation from the Big FM family. Let me share the screen with you.
Captain Amit Bhandari, that's my name. I do release a lot of videos about this content. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Captain. Thanks, Sadayat, and thanks, Biggies, for logging in.